This is a quiet story about a wild heart and how stillness can change us. It teaches no rule, only a truth, that peace doesn't come from knowing more, but from listening better. In a quiet patch of the forest, where the moss grew thick on fallen stones and the wind smelled faintly of old rain, an old wolf sat beneath a leaning tree. Her name was Vera. She no longer hunted. She no longer roamed. Her paws were worn, her bones slow. But her presence was heavy with calm, the kind of calm that made birds fall silent and young trees grow straighter. Every day, Vera rose with the light and sat at the edge of the clearing, facing east. She watched the light stretch across the bark. She listened to the roots speaking in their slow, rootish way. She said very little. One morning, a sound broke the hush. Quick steps, a flick of bristle, the sharp breath of something young and burning. From between the ferns came a small wildcat with tangled fur and fire in her eyes. The wildcat was named Liri. She did not sit. She did not breathe slowly. She paced and pawed at the ground, her tail snapping like a broken reed. "You are the one they call the still wolf?" she asked without greeting. "They say you know how to stop the storms in the mind, that you carry silence like a lantern." Vera said nothing at first. Her eyes, pale like distant ice, only blinked once. Liri frowned. "I've been to the stones, the streams, the stars. I've chased meaning through riddles and wind. I've torn at bark to find answers, but nothing makes me quiet. Nothing makes me feel whole." The wolf tilted her head slightly, as if listening to something far off. "Then stay," she said. "Just one day." "One day?" Liri's ears twitched. "Doing what?" "Being," said the wolf. The wildcat laughed, sharp and dry. "I didn't come for riddles." Vera didn't move. Her gaze returned to the tree bark, to the wind brushing the grass. Something in her stillness was unnerving. Liri hesitated, then sat. Not for the wolf's sake, for her own. Her paws ached, her thoughts were noisy. Minutes passed, then hours. Vera did not speak. She did not offer advice or herbs or chants. She simply sat, as if the world did not need fixing, only feeling. At first, Liri fidgeted. She counted the leaves. She scratched her claws on a root. She whispered questions into the air, but no answers came. The light shifted, shadows lengthened. A bird landed near, stared, and left. The wind changed direction. Something in Liri began to settle. By late afternoon, her breathing had slowed. Her tail no longer twitched. She found herself watching the way the sunlight made lace through the branches. She noticed how the moss pulsed faintly with dew. She did not realize she had stopped thinking. When the sky began to pinken, Vera finally turned to her. "What did you learn?" the old wolf asked gently. Liri blinked, as if waking from a dream. "I don't know," she said. Vera nodded. "Then stay one more day." Liri stayed through the dusk and then through the night. She curled beside the roots. She listened to the old wolf breathe. She dreamed of nothing in particular, which for once was a relief. The next morning, when she rose, the wind seemed quieter, or perhaps her mind was. She looked at Vera, who was already seated, watching the sun rise again. "Thank you," Liri said in a voice that no longer scratched the air. Vera looked at her but said nothing. Liri stood for a long time. Then she turned to leave. She paused at the edge of the clearing and asked, "Will I lose this stillness again?" The wolf finally answered, Yes, a pause. But now you'll know where to find it. And so the wildcat walked back into the world, not as one who had been filled, but as one who had learned where the quiet begins